Welcome to HDTV. You now rocking with your boy. Well, basically, Donald Trump's ambassador to the UK, Woody Johnson, did make inappropriate comments about sex, religion, and color. Inspector General finds, and he tried to get the report censored. And the State Department's IG, which stands for Inspector General, found that a more thorough review by the department is warranted. Trump appointed ambassador to the UK had demanding, hard-driving work style, some staff said. Employees said Johnson sometimes made inappropriate or insensitive comments. He is the New York Jets owner and the heir to Johnson & Johnson fortune, contained and broader looked at executive direction at the embassy. Had negative effect on morale. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo asked President Trump to fire the last IG amid multiple probes. This story is by Jeff Earl, Deputy U.S. Political Editor for the DailyMail.com, and it was published 12:46 Eastern, August 12, 2020, and it was updated at 1913 Eastern, which is 7:13, and that was August 12, 2020. Now, the State Department's Inspector General released a 43-page report Wednesday on the U.S. Embassy to the United Kingdom that finds staff complained Ambassador Woody Johnson made inappropriate or insensitive comments about race and sex. The finding is included in a broader look at executive direction, policy and program implementation, resource management, and other issues at the U.S. Embassy in London, one of the most important foreign diplomatic postings. The report confirms explosive allegations that came out of last month that Johnson made sexist, racist comments that staff reported to investigators. The IG concluded a more thorough review by the department is warranted after briefly spelling out the allegations against the New York Jets owner and Johnson & Johnson heir, and the report revealed that Johnson wanted the allegations hushed up, saying he had watched the video on workplace discrimination policy and saying there were no official complaints against him. If I have unintentionally offended anyone in the execution of my duties, I deeply regret that, but I do not accept that I have treated employees with disrespect or discriminated in any way, he said. I respectfully disagree with recommendation 1 for a more thorough review and ask that the OIG consider the absence of any official complaints against me during my 3-year tenure and the generally positive tone of the OIG report on Mission UK before including the recommendation in the final report and concluding that my actions have negatively affected morale, he said. Okay. Now, the IG investigators found that some staff were impacted by the ambassadors demanding hard driving work style, and it had a negative effect on morale in some embassy sections. The IG learned through questionnaires and interviews that the ambassador sometimes made inappropriate or insensitive comments on topics generally considered equal employment opportunity sensitive, such as religion, sex, or color. It did not specify what the comments were. For example, some embassy staff told OIG that when the ambassador was frustrated with what he interpreted to be excessive staff caution or resistance to suggestions about which he felt strongly, he sometimes questioned their intentions or implied that he might have them replaced, the IG wrote. commenting on Johnson's leadership. This caused staff to grow wary of providing him with their best judgment. Okay. Okay. The Officer of Inspector General, United States Department of State, Inspection of Embassy, London and Constituent Post, United Kingdom. Bureau of European and Eurasian Affairs. Tone at the top in standards of conduct. The Chief of Mission, a first-time non-career ambassador, arrived in August 2017 and presented his credentials to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in November 2017. From New Jersey, he was a businessman and a philanthropist. The DCM, a career senior foreign service officer, arrived in January 2019 following an assignment as acting deputy assistant secretary for Egypt and North Africa. Prior to that, she had multiple domestic and overseas assignments, principally in or involving the Near East. When the ambassador arrived at Embassy London in late summer 2017, he assumed responsibility from the previous DCM, who had served as charge d'affaires for approximately 7 months. OIG learned that the relationship between the ambassador and the former DCM deteriorated during the year that they worked together, affecting mission morale and ending in the DCM's reassignment. Based on interviews with embassy staff, OIG concluded that the ambassador did not always model the department's leadership and management principles as contained in 3 Foreign Affairs Manual 1214, and in particular 3 FAM 1214B 4 and 6 regarding communication and self-awareness. For example, some embassy staff told OIG that when the ambassador was frustrated with what he interpreted to be excessive staff caution or resistance to suggestions about which he felt strongly, he sometimes questioned their intentions or implied that he might have them replaced. This caused staff to grow wary of providing him with their best judgment with the arrival of the current DCM chosen by the ambassador. Staff generally reported to OIG that they saw better communication from the front office and an increased confidence from the ambassador and the mission staff. OIG also found that some staff were impacted by the ambassador's demanding, hard-driving work style, and it had a negative effect on morale in some embassy sections. In addition, OIG learned through employee questionnaires and interviews that the ambassador sometimes made inappropriate or insensitive comments on topics generally considered equal employment opportunity sensitive, such as religion, sex, or color, according to 3 FAM 1526.1. Offensive or derogatory comments based on the individual's race, color, sex, or religion can create an offensive working environment and could potentially rise to a violation of EEO laws. Based on the information that OIG learned during this inspection and pursuant to the requirements in 3 FAM 1526.2, a more thorough review by the department is warranted. Recommendation 1. The Bureau of European and Eurasian Affairs, in coordination with the Office of Civil Rights, should assess the Chief of Mission compliance with department equal employment opportunity or leadership policies, and based on the results of the review, take appropriate action. At the time of the inspection, OIG interviews indicated that both the ambassador and the DCM Model 3 FAM 1214 attributes of strategic planning and decisiveness. The ambassador advised the embassy staff on the importance of spending U.S. taxpayer money wisely, and he and the DCM practiced proper procedures with respect to receipt of gifts. Both mission employees and Washington interlocutors told OIG the ambassador was reaching out to the U.S. direct hire and LE staff in an effort to know them better, to convey his appreciation Just for their let's see. Oh, it ends there. So let's see. The report quotes the Foreign Affairs Manual, stating that offensive or derogatory comments based on an individual's race, color, sex, or religion can create an offensive working environment and could potentially rise to a violation of anti-discrimination laws. Johnson is quoted in response to the draft report in May. If I have unintentionally offended anyone in the execution of my duties, I deeply regret that, but I do not accept that I have treated employees with disrespect or discriminated in any way, he wrote. CNN reported last month that Johnson was being investigated for allegedly making racist and sexist comments, as well as for allegedly seeking to use his post to benefit the president's Scottish golf courses by bringing the British Open to one of his courses. He said some pretty sexist racist, a diplomat told the network. The New York Times previously reported that Johnson asked a British diplomat who was representing Scotland about bringing the Open to Trump's Turnberry golf course. The IG's report does not mention allegations about seeking to use his post to benefit the president's business. Johnson wrote in his full response, during my tenure as U.S. ambassador to the United Kingdom, and indeed for the entirety of the professional life, I have respected both the law and the spirit of EEO principles and have ensured that all employees under my direction do the same. He continued, if I have unintentionally offended anyone in the execution of my duties, I deeply regret that, but I do not accept that I have treated employees with disrespect or discriminated in any way. My objective is to lead the highly talented team at Mission UK to execute the president's policies and to do so in ways that are respectful of our differences, with zero tolerance for discrimination of any kind. So, sorry for that long soliloquy. Do you believe him? Me, I don't believe him. For one, he's an NFL owner, and most of those guys are basically all of them in NFL and NBA. I've already proven on my page. If you go look at the video, I tell you about the employment of blacks in higher positions in the NBA and NFL. Most of them guys are racist. They're the majority. When Donald Sterling got replaced for the Clippers, people didn't understand when he said that there's others like him out there. Nobody remembers that part he said. Everyone turned a blind eye. Donald Sterling was the only racist owner ever, which is a load of crap. The NFL owners are very racist. They showed it with Kaepernick, or I call him Capper Fake. They showed it with him, and a main example of him. He took the money and ran. So this doesn't surprise me. I believe that he did do it. I believe that he's being targeted because of the Black Lives Matter thing going on. So now they're making it a big deal. But yeah, I believe he did it. I mean, like I said, he's the NFL owner. Those guys come off as very arrogant, very prickish, as I call it. So let me know what you feel in the comment section. If you feel he's did this or if he hasn't done it, if you believe that he's being framed, let me know in the comment section. Please like this video and share it to everybody on your platforms. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell, and please select all so you can hear upcoming content. And thank you for listening to this long video. We are out. Live boy.